It's that time again. It's the Burky and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about.
Yay! Hey, 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 hey. And ho, 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 ho. Hello, Babbleites, and welcome to another Burky and Badger's Board Game Babble. Yes, this is the one and only YouTube live streaming podcast where you can join in, and like Kabuki Kid is doing, and Philip Millman. Hello, chaps. How you all doing? I've lost my train of thought on the script. Edit that out. Yes, you can join in live, and you can leave comments, and you can chat with us, and you know, kind of participate in part of the action that we have. I am Badger, and I'm better known as Barry Dubs for the other. Doubles for the other, even. I can't even read my own language. And over there is Mr. Burky, who's better known as Kevin. Oh, bummer, I've got a Kickstarter to run, Smire. Well, actually, Burky's not here because he is actually running his Kickstarter, which is the Game Toppers, which is live now on Kickstarter. Game Toppers is that portable tabletop that you can put on top of any table, as long as it's not made of feathers, and you can have like a full gaming experience because it's got a nice ribbed lip that you can rest your arms on. You can hold cards on it. It has little clamps which you can put like a beer inside, so it's not actually on the table. And it also has a nice kind of like inlay mats that you can lay in, and go and check it out. It is on Kickstarter. It's Game Toppers, which is quality, affordable, portable gaming tabletops. Yes, and already it has funded within the first hour. So, woohoo! Well done, Burky. So, without Burky here, I do have a special guest filling in for me, and he's going to be my co-host today, and you've met him before. It's the legendary... No, that's Mike Fitzgerald. I can't steal that from Lance Meister. It is the... Oh, you know what I am doing? I am not recording my audio. Jamie, are you recording your audio?
No, I wasn't. We've totally forgot to go with that. I've literally just booted up Audacity as you started saying. Whoop. Oh, well.
Okay, I'm going to have to add that in later.
Whoops. Hold on. Da-da. Okay, I think I've got it now.
I'm recording 1, 2, 3, 4. It won't be a podcast afterwards without Audacity running.
I seem to be picking up your sound as well, though.
Okay. Maybe you need to turn your headphones down.
Maybe that's weird. Ooh. Oh well, this is off to a good start.
Yeah, this is off to a good start. My co-host is now fired.
I didn't even last one episode. How does that work?
Oh, dearie me, dearie me, dearie me. Who else has joined us? Hello, Rick. Thanks for joining us, mate. Hello. I wish I had $1,200 for a tabletop game topper. I keep saying tabletopper. That's another product entirely.
Just a bit.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to the script. Luckily, I have a special guest with us. He's going to be my co-host, and that's Mr. Jamie Johnson from Holy Grail Games. Hello, Jamie.
Hello. You get to swap a big American with a great big bushy beard for a rather ill Englishman. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a shame that you were ill. You missed out on those wonderful other viruses that we had here.
Yes, all those lovely things. Plus, I got it when I was back in England for a few days. So it's like the country just went, oh, traitor. There we go. Have that. So yeah, come back ill.
It has a way of doing that. I do that as well. When I go and visit my mum and dad, it's like the first day I'm fine. Second day, it's like headache kicks in. Yeah. The throat goes a bit funny, and game over.
Ways of international travel, eh?
Yeah, and then my mum wonders why I'm always so miserable when I visit.
Because I'm dying, Mum. God, leave me alone.
So, Jamie, let's talk a bit about your background. How did you get into gaming?
Oh man, how long have you got?
Okay.
The long version or the short version? Now,
can you draw it as a picture?
I kind of can. I can like charade it or something. I don't know. I kind of got in from the bottom up, to be honest. I started working in a game store during my studies, and then when I came out of my studies, which is nothing to do with gaming, I was in architectural engineering. I came out in the midst of the economic crisis, so work was not the easiest thing to come about, to be perfectly honest. So I ended up moving back to France, because I'd lived in France for quite some time, gone back to England to finish studies, moved back for work, basically. And when I got back, I landed in Paris, and I did the thing that most gamers do when they arrive in new places. I looked for a place to play. I found that, a board game store called Holy Grail Games in Paris, and basically I was very much into a war game called War Machine and Hordes at the time, which I played a lot in England. So when I got to France, I wanted to play it again, and their community wasn't as advanced as ours was in the UK, so I helped the local store get things running and organising events and stuff. And basically, one day the distributor turned up, the national distributor, who just kind of started getting up and running, and said to me, well, you know, I need sort of like a salesman / product expert. Would you like to try? And I was like, well, you know, architecture isn't really going anywhere at the moment, so why not try and make a living out of games? So I did. And that went well, and I worked there for about 1.5 years. Then I left to do some writing for a magazine called Ravage, and then rebounded onto the Conan board game Kickstarter. From there, I went on to work for a French website called Trick Track, which is kind of like the BGG of France. And then I did The Seventh Continent, which I'm about to do again, and also Outlive. And now I run my own publishing house, because I thought, well, if I'm going to publish games, I've got someone I'd like to publish myself. So
yeah. So that's how Holy Grail came about.
That's it.
Work in Kickstarters kind of like made you go, I know what.
Yeah, basically. Well, I came up through the ranks of the Kickstarter world, I suppose. First of all, doing community management, then doing a bit more project management and development, and that kind of thing, product design, that kind of stuff. And basically, I kind of, well, at the end, I met my colleague, Olivier, who had a game to publish. And originally, we were going to go into business together, just one to publish his game. And the original plan was to do a sort of like Kickstarter think tank kind of thing, like help other people do Kickstarters. But then he had a game to publish, and another friend had a really good game they wanted us to publish, which is on Kickstarter at the moment, in fact. And it just kind of grew from there. So he just went, well, I guess we're publishers now. So that's how Holy Grail. It was a happy little accident, shall we say.
Yes. And let's talk about your Kickstarters. You started off last year with Rising 5.
That's the one, which is currently on a boat somewhere heading for the Panama Canal for America, and somewhere around Africa, I think, for Europe. So South Africa, sorry, at the moment. So that campaign went well. Not the biggest campaign in the world, but it wasn't really meant to be, bearing in mind it's an app-based game. Well, it's not an app-based game, but it uses a digital application, which is still a tough sell nowadays, and I can understand why. I personally, when they're done well, I'm a big fan of them. I also did another game for a company called Volumique, which is actually the first Kickstarter I ever did, called World of Yoho, which was another app-integrated game. Really enjoyed that. So Rising 5 was our first project with Mandu Games, which was a Korean publisher, and it went really well. The games are on the boat. We're going to deliver on time, and also very good for me, on budget. So, you know, kind of happy about that for our first Kickstarter. I had a lot of time to learn from others' mistakes, that being said. So I got it, when it came to mine, I got it right.
Always an advantage, because again, I get a few Kickstarter games come my way, and it's like, well, how do you sell this? Okay, well, I'll demonstrate the game, and I'll give people advice about it, but this is the type of game for them. And then they go, well, what else do we do on Kickstarter? And it's like, well, you're asking me? It's like, okay, don't you know? Make some stretch goals, make them good.
Make it shiny, make it sing, make it dance. That's
yes.
No, that being said, it is not as easy a question. A lot of people go into Kickstarter saying, oh, you know, it's get rich quick. You know, just fling a game on there. It'll instantly get seen, instantly get funded, instantly get, you know, $1 million, whatever. The fact of the matter is, especially nowadays, I mean, this late summer has been mental on Kickstarter. I've never seen so many Kickstarters on at the same time. And next month, holy cow, I mean, it is going to be the battle of the titans. There are at least 5 or 6 different projects that can easily break 1 million going up. So they are going to be fighting one another for people's pocket money, that's for sure. So I'm kind of glad we got Outlaws out of the way first.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of dodged a giant cannon bullet there, you know.
Yeah, the only one that I know from next month is going to be Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc, you've got, you've also got Resident Evil, the board game from Forge Games. You have Seventh Continent, you know, that game I'm meant to be working on. That's going back. And there are a couple of others as well that are looking pretty nice, you know, big miniatures-based kind of games. I think Cool Mini has another one coming up, but don't quote me on that. Or are they publishing that directly? I can't remember now. Well, whatever the case, even if it's just between those three, you know, woof, it's going to be a busy month for Kickstarter, shall we say.
Definitely. So when is your next Kickstarter going to be, and what is it going to be?
So Outlaws is the one running at the moment, which runs technically it runs till the 28th, which is well, you should know, Barry, you did a preview for it.
I did, yes, and I totally forgot about it.
No, you didn't.
Sorry.
Anyway, no, it's fine. I'm professional, but whatever. Yeah, moving on. Which is basically a small €18 bluff deduction, you know, kind of like Who's Who meets Stratego meets Cowboys and Poker, basically. So it's basically along the same veins as Rising 5. It's a small game that we really just wanted to get out there, and to be perfectly honest, it helps us build experience in the realm of Kickstarter and, you know, manufacturing and shipping, which is something a lot of people overlook when they first get into it and start dreaming about Kickstarter. So hopefully Outlaws is looking like it's going to be on time and on budget as well. Even if it's not the biggest project, but we're not really fussed about that as long as people like it. And then the next big project, like the big project we've been setting up for in a way, is Museum, which is Olivier's game, which is the big family game box set collection game. Which is going to be with Vincent Dutray. Yep, about 250 individual illustrations from Vincent Dutray. So he's currently chained up in my basement drawing, and he can come out when he finishes the game. So
I also saw on your roster of lists, your roster of games, Rallyman, which was
we have done that as well.
Yes, okay.
I was very excited about when they brought that to me. I'm not a car person. I have a car. I like my car, but I don't watch Formula One. I don't really watch rally. I'm not a huge car person, but the mechanics for the game were so nice, and I'm not a huge believer in racing board games either. There are a couple that do it right. You know, Formula D was pretty good, even if it's a tad complicated, I find. The recent one you have to state is Flamme Rouge, which is really, really good.
That's not a car.
No, technically not. It's based off the particularities of cycling, but then again, you know, you always have to tweak it a little bit for the setting. But the mechanics for Rallyman, which is so fun and so just simple and nice. Yes, I do watch Top Gear, Philip. I do see that going.
Yes, so do I. And I hate cars as well. You know, cars it's just primarily to get from A to B. That's all I care about. I don't care what the car looks like, how fast it goes, get from A to B.
I can appreciate it, that being said. So when they brought me Rallyman, I was like, but then I played it, and the mechanics they're solid. The mechanics of this game are really solid. And without being overly complicated, they're fun, they're quick, they're easy, they give you a nice experience. But what really sold me on the game was when I took a look online, and bearing in mind that the game hasn't been published since 2011, if I'm not mistaken, and it was basically published out of some dude's garage, you know, the original author.
Yeah.
There's about 500 people still playing this game online, like doing monthly races and world championships and everything like that. So it's actually really impressive when you look at it. So yes, that is on the list.
Okay, yeah, that was a game that when it first came out, I was interested in getting because it took me back to my V-Rally days on the PlayStation 1. And I thought, that looks really good. Yeah. And so this might be my opportunity to go and pick a copy now.
Well, it is, bearing in mind, it won't be the original. We are going to make, I won't say significant changes. The idea is to bring out a game that is good for the players that already like it, because, you know, there is quite a few of them and we don't want to disappoint, and they've already got a really nice seated community in there. Is that My Little Pony mug?
No, it's a Fabula.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, there we go then. Oh, that's fine. That's better.
My Little Pony.
Not that I'm criticising My Little Pony. I just didn't have you pegged as a My Little Pony fan. What was I going to say? Yeah, but we're going to retheme it ever so slightly, I think, to be a bit more open to other players, at least for the first season. Then we'll go back to rally afterwards. We're going to bring some upgraded rules, a lot of which people have already suggested on the Rallyman forums. So it's going to be an exciting project, that one. It's going to be exciting. And loads of tiny cards.
Okay.
Be good.
Yes. Yeah, so it's kind of going to be an upgrade of the original base game.
Yeah, basically. It's going to be the V2.
V2, yes. We'll talk about V2s later. Okay, there you go. What to know about Jamie Johnson in less than 5 minutes.
Everything that's publicly applicable, you know.
Yes, of course. Okay, I'd like to take this moment to say thank you for joining us, everybody. Don't forget that this is a live podcast, which will be published as quick as I can, Jamie, right? So we'll try and get you some more backers for your game.
Oh,
So,
can't complain.
Yeah. And so
I'm just happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
You should be able to listen to the podcast on iTune and Stitcher. And we'd like to thank also our sponsor, Arcane Wonders, who are the makers of Sheriff of Nottingham, Royals, which is a game that I love, Spoils of War, and their current game at the moment is Viral, which I haven't played, so I can't tell you anything about it, apart from it's about viruses. And I can't wait to see Burky dressed up as like the bubonic plague or a morsel of mucus hanging from someone's nose. So thank you very much, Arcane Wonders, for your sponsorship. I will then cut all this out in the audio podcast and whack in a really cool segment.
Something.
Yeah.
Cool something.
Yeah.
Cool beans. Cool beans.
Yes, cool beans.
I was told by a friend I could not be able to use that phrase anymore.
Well,
I wouldn't get out back into the country if I said cool beans.
Oh God, it's been ages since I heard cool beans.
Yeah, I know, right? It just came to me the other day while we were playing a game of Infinity.
Yeah.
And he like one-shotted one of my characters off the board. I was just like, oh, cool beans. I didn't ever say that in front of me again. Okay. Fine, man.
Yeah, we had another one. It was cool sticks. We used to.
I've never heard that one though. For all the Americans listening, they must be so confused.
Yes. Very confused. Anyway, let's move on. We've seen what Jamie's been up to. He's been up to a lot. And he's got the 7th continent. I mean to ask you about that. Kabuki Kid was asking.
I saw.
What the changes for the next Kickstarter for the 7th continent?
Changes, there are practically none. The 7th continent being such a beast and such a popular project, it was very daunting to go in. Well, obviously, I'm psyched to go back and run the campaign again with the guys from Serious Pool. But for me, it was very daunting to go back because it's kind of like a Star Wars sequel. Everybody expects something, and what you come out with isn't forcibly what everybody's going to expect. So you have to tread carefully, and you have to take care of two communities at once now. That is the old backers who are going to want to upgrade their game and get easy access to all the new content, but you're also going to have to provide for all the new backers who want the game and everything else that they missed out on because they didn't back it the first time. So it's a very kind of balancing act, and I think I'm pretty confident we've nailed it down to something everybody is going to be happy with. So but if you're asking from a rules point of view, nothing changes. It's the exact same rules. It's a new expansion with 2 new curses. As well as an upgrade pack. If you pledge the first game, you'll get a free pack of cards, which includes all the errated cards, all the modified things. There's only about 20 of them or so at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. So there's not a huge amount out of the 1,350 cards that are actually in the game. Pretty happy that they didn't get that many wrong. So
yeah, and a few of them were just they missed off the old thumbs at the back. Which verified if you'd found the right card.
Basically, just a couple of little things. Nothing, well, no, I say that. I think there are 1 or 2 game breakers in there. I can't actually say because I don't want to spoil the cards for myself, so I don't go and look unless I need to. So I know I've run into 1 or 2 personally, but apart from that, nothing chronic, shall we say. So, but no, nothing, the rules stay the same. They'll be, I've been writing all the stretch goal text and that kind of thing recently, so I can assure you that there'll be plenty of goodies to get in from. And if you thought you were going to go back and play the same continent again with expansions, and only the expansions would change, think again. There you go. That's all I'll say about that. It's going to be more of the same, but even better and more. And
you know what? I can't wait to edit this podcast because I'm just gonna loop that section there. Yeah, because my mouth is watering.
It'll be good. It's gonna be good. Gonna be good fun. Well, I'm gonna have a stupidly busy week next week because that begins Tuesday night. I have meetings in Paris on Wednesday, and then I have the end of Outlaws on Thursday. So it's gonna be juggling all that at once. It's gonna be a bloody nightmare. I'm sure it'll work out.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll work out. Then that leads me nicely into what have I been up to. I know what Burky's been up to, but what have I been up to? I've been getting old. I don't know if you noticed. I have to wear glasses now. And that's no fun, especially when you're playing the 7th continent and there's a lot of text to read on the cards, and some of it's quite small. And so I've been finding myself looking at the cards with the magnifying glass, which comes in the game, which is quite fun. So I don't have this like pain on my nose. So yeah, I've been getting old and diving heavily into the Seventh Continent, which I will be reviewing very soon as one of those excellent games which gets like a 10 out of 10. I've given away it. There you go. It's out of the bag. It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
There's not really much to say about the game, isn't it?
No, I broke my pen. I'm so excited.
Oh, sorry, continent. Computer screen.
Yeah. Oh,
you glasses.
We will move right along into our next section, which is things that make us go,
Things that make us go,
Wow.
Board game news. Burky the Badger reflects on the current events that are happening in the board game industry. Some may be good, some may be bad, but they're all things that make us go,
That's the wrong graphic. But at least it was the right music. Okay.
And you see, Burky goes away and it all goes to shit.
Yeah. And I catch your cold over
Google Hangouts.
Yeah,
that's a new digital plague era, my friend.
That's why they call it a virus.
Yes, exactly.
A computer virus. Anywho, what has been making you go in the world of board games?
Well, we're going to go back onto the topic that I was about earlier, but it has been an absurdly busy month for Kickstarter. I don't think I've ever seen it like this before. Ever. I don't think I've ever seen so many projects. I mean, we already had a date tied down for Outlaws, so we didn't really want to go back on that because we'd already told people when it's going to be. But when I started, logging onto the page, I mean, don't get me wrong, I scout out the terrain, see if there's any big projects or anything that could really clash with ours before hitting it. But things have just come out the woodwork this month. It's been unbelievable, the amount of board gaming Kickstarters and board gaming related things, really. I mean, between board games, tabletoppers, and like there's for us miniatures painters out there, because I have a crippling addiction to Plastic Toy Soldiers, there's like a Kickstarter to get a wet palette, which is just, never seen that on Kickstarter before. It's just crazy. I've never seen it so busy. And like I said, next month is just going to be a Battle of the Titans. So we'll see how that goes.
Wow, that's going to make you work harder, I think, in the future, if it keeps expanding. Well,
to be honest, it will, because Kickstarter is no longer sort of, you just throw it on there and it gets noticed. You have a lot to contend with nowadays. And everybody is kind of clocked on that, the big gaming websites, well, they clocked on a while ago, but now it's kind of reached critical mass. Advertising on all the big gaming websites and such, everybody knows where and how to do it. So you kind of get lost in the mass, which represents a whole different new challenge for people like myself to really get seen, so to speak.
Yeah. Sorry, just reading the comments. Yeah, so that was interesting. So I wasn't falling asleep.
Just kind of like getting old and...
Yeah, just a old woman in a chair.
What?
Yeah, things have been making me go recently there's a game announced, and instead of a rule book, they had a comic book which explained the rules.
Intriguing.
Which is a very intriguing, and that's piqued my ears and interest, because again, with this new Diced app is coming out, which is going to be another way to teach people games. This is somehow leading me back into the last podcast where we talk about rules. And I posted a poll up on our board game forum 2248, which asked if you were one of these people that read rules, or if you were one of these people that watch videos, or if you were one of these people that just waited for someone else to teach you the game. And a majority of our voters went with it's them that read the rules, which leads me to predict that most of our viewers are people that are actually like us and
have a brain between their ear holes.
Yeah.
I do actually have something to say about that, because rules, well, before you've had to publish a game, you never fully appreciate the pain in the butt it is to write rules. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's an art to it. There really is, because when you've worked on a game so long, rules just come to you. You know the rules to your game. You've worked on it for months or years or whatever.
It's like breathing. You don't even think about
it. And it's the hardest. Like, you can take a step back. You can be objective about miniatures or artwork or that kind of thing, but to be objective about rules, because it's something you just can't unknow, so to speak, is very, very difficult. So what I do think there is going to have to be nowadays, especially with the democratization of board games, is better rules. Like, people have to start paying a lot more attention to their rule books. Not you guys, not the players. I mean, us, the publishers. You know, there is just so many people just skip over it, and there's grey areas, and there's things people don't understand, and it could all be made much more interesting and much more novel using innovative things like comic books. Now, I'd be interested to see that, because I'm not quite sure how that works out, especially if it's a more complicated game.
Yeah.
It must have been quite expensive to do as well, I'd imagine. But it's something that we were looking at as well for one of our games next year called Syndicate, work in progress title, which we've actually having illustrated by quite a prestigious, he's actually an old student of Advanced Trade, funnily enough, quite a prestigious graphic novel illustrator. So while we were there, we're like, well, we could try and have some fun with the rules using a comic strip, so to speak. It's like, yeah, that could be cool. So, you know, there's some very simple rules to follow. I've just seen Philip comment, you know, Paul Grogan, for example. Paul Grogan is undoubtedly the master of the rules.
As he demonstrated in our last show, he really laid into companies who don't really care about the rule books.
You want to know, because I had this discussion with Paul at Gen Con. We were talking about this. We met up and had a chat and everything. And yeah, sometimes it's just shocking. And I will be the first one to put my hands up. When I wrote the Rising 5 rule book, a guy called Sebastian Pochon, who works with Space Cowboys and is a friend of ours and Vassily Trey's, who was really interested in the game, said, well, let me have a look at the rule book and I'll give you a hand. And he just spent a weekend rewriting that bad boy, which I'm incredibly grateful for, because you just don't know until you see somebody go, well, how do you expect them to know that? And you're like, I don't know. Yeah. You know, it's even simple things like explaining what a deck of cards is. That should not be something you have to explain to a board game player, and it's not. But if you want it to be as simple as possible, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's sometimes it's chronic, but when it's good, it's great.
And there you go. Comic rule books. They probably are going to be the future. They're going to shape the world. Change the world.
I'd be interested to see it. Is it a complicated game they've done, or?
It's a game called Einstein. I don't think it is a complicated game. If I remember well, it's a kind of tile laying game. You've got these tiles, but they're like irregular shapes.
Right.
And they've got ideas in them, and you got to connect them up. And it's a 2-player game. So again, you could have done Outlaws. Maybe it's kind of probably same
possibly
level as Outlaws.
Yeah. I mean, what we do with our rule sets is that we use a lot of illustrations. Like I illustrate everything. This is partially coming from somebody who's played war games since he was 9 years old, and in all war games, you know, Warhammer, all those kind of rule books, there is always examples to show you, well, you know, if a troop shoots another troop, this is what happens. And it's always set off to a little side in a box next to the main rule, just as an example. And that's just one of the things. You can never have enough illustrations and examples of rules in your books, and especially on critical rules. You know, in some rule sets I've written, you desperately need an example just to, you know.
Yeah, to put 2 and 2 together.
Exactly. Once it clicks, you just need to look at the example. You barely even need to read it, and it clicks, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, comic book rules. I'd be interesting to see that. It's dubious how many rules you could get across in a comic book setting. That's my only concern. It would have to be a simple game, like Outlaws or this one probably.
Yeah, or
Outlaws has 4 actions.
It depends on the learning curve of the game as well. You know, if like Crossmaster, it uses not comic book form, but it teaches you bit by bit. It teaches you movement, and you do a game with movement, and it teaches you collection and then attacking.
Yeah. It's weird to bring up Ankama as a good example in board games. Sorry, Ankama. They are doing a lot better now. They're putting a lot more effort into their board games. But yeah, Crossmaster with the rule book, that as you turn it, it has the little battlegrounds on it, which you put your minis on. It goes, right, do this. And that's a really clever idea. I really like that. That was very, very clever. So yeah, it's
Yeah, and it helped learn quite a complex game for children because it looked like it's for children because it's Whack Food Doofus universe. But yes. The other thing that made me go is I've been playing a lot of Planet Coaster. I've been playing on PC for once in my life in a long time. I just beat Portal 2 yesterday. I'm proud of myself. How many years has that been out?
They're just going to go all the way back through and find all the Easter eggs and unlock the secret ending.
You're joking?
I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. There is a secret ending. There's hidden rooms. Did you find any of the hidden rooms?
No.
Okay, there's a load of hidden rooms that another character leaves there for you to find, and you have to find them all, and it gets you the special ending.
I just started playing through with the commentary, the director's commentary, because I like it. It's interesting.
They are good. They were good fun. I was very disappointed when they cancelled Half-Life 3 recently. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, they released a storyline for it, so it's cool. We get closure. We get pseudo closure.
So yeah, I've been playing a lot of Planet Coaster, which is a theme park simulator game.
Oh, theme park, bullfrog games. Back in the day.
Oh yes, I love that. And watching people spew and then having 15
roller coaster.
Having 15 guys clean up it all in a row, and it's like an animation in chain.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You know what would go really well with that vomit? More $15 soda. Oh yes. Buy everything.
Yes. So yeah, I've been enjoying that, and when I saw from Gen Con that there's a board game which comes out with a physical version of a coaster. You actually make the coaster.
It's Cool Mini that publish it in America. It's damn it.
Coaster Park.
Is it Coaster Park?
It's Coaster Park.
Is it Coaster Park? No.
I think so. That's what I've written on the show notes.
No, it's just unfair. It's unfair.
No, Unfair is another game, which is card-based, and it just doesn't feel like a theme park at all. It's just a card, collect cards, and go and collect more cards, and use those cards to do something else.
I'm looking at Unfair right now.
All right.
Oh, no, that is the card game. I'm sorry. So what's the one with the...
Anybody online can help us out?
No, it's... I'm getting myself confused here. Because I've seen it go past it. That has the little coaster in it, doesn't it?
It's Coaster Park. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then my bad. So this is another. I'm going to look up Coaster Park now.
I will do a screen share. There it is.
I haven't actually seen it. This one.
And there you go. And let's get some images up.
Or does that have 3D parts to it?
That has a 3D roller coaster, and it's a physical roller coaster. You have a marble, and you have to, when you're building it with these cards, you have to get the marble to the end without it falling off.
That's intriguing. That's a really fun idea. Kind of like a what was those machines? You know, like the mousetrap machines. They have a name. The like Eisenberg machines or whatever. It's not actually Eisenberg machine. That's a character from Breaking Bad. But I can't remember.
No, I haven't got a clue. Haven't got a clue. But yeah, that looks really interesting to me. An actual physical game where you're building a roller coaster and hopefully getting the ball.
Rube Goldberg machine. Thank you, Kabuki. That was going to slay me until I got to look it up. Sorry to interrupt you, Barry.
That's all right. A Rube Goldberg.
Yeah, Rube Goldberg machine.
Oh.
If you want to see what they're like, look up the music videos of a band called OK Go. Very good music, and all of their, or basically all of their songs are using Rube Goldberg machines.
Okay.
At least one or two of them are, sorry. Very interesting. I like them. Or you can just go play Mousetrap. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's where the ball moves along the track and then a spring fries it off.
Yeah,
and then
that's the one.
Kind of like a domino rally, but without dominoes.
Not just dominoes.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay. So that's the things that have been making us go, What's been making you go, Maybe you want to write a comment on our Board Game Geek Guild 2248 and let us know. Now we're going to move into what game is behind the door, which is music track number 3. And graphic.
Away you go.
I'm glad I'm not a real TV presenter.
Welcome everybody to What Game is Behind the Door. In this segment, will we put in our special guest to the test by asking them 3 questions. Questions like, what was the last game that they purchased? What is the game they're most excited about getting? And what is their favorite game right now. Burky and Badger will have to figure out what these answers are by asking questions in ridiculous styles. Let's find out if Burky and Badger can get 3 out of 3 or fall flat on the floor like a floundering thingy.
Classy choice of words there.
Yeah. It's called improvisation.
Yes. In the middle of a recording.
In the middle of recording, just yeah.
That's it. Ad hoc the entire thing, it'll be fine.
Okay. We are in the quiz show part of the game, and I've lost my pen.
And you are at a grave disadvantage, my friend, this time round.
I am indeed. It's just me.
You can't lean on Burky's monumental intellect this time.
No, I cannot. And I cannot remember what the score was between us last time. But yes, we're going to be asking Jamie 3 questions. I'm going to be asking, I'm in the routine of saying we. He's here in spirit. I'm going to be asking Jamie 3 questions, 3 different questions to the questions that I asked him last time. And we're going to do this in a gamey style, and I'm going to try and figure out what the answers are. So the first question, you ready? I'm
ready. And I promise it won't be an obscure war game this time. I've made sure it's a board game.
Okay. Hopefully all 3 of them. No, yes. Actually 2 of them are board games. Okay, the question number 1 is, if you were to enter one gaming tournament because you had a good chance of winning, what would it be? And what we're going to be doing, well, doing it again. What I am going to be doing is asking Jamie some questions, and he can answer yes, no, or maybe in the middle kind of response. I'm going to have to ask 10 questions, so I'm going to be quite busy. And I'm going to try and figure out what it is. And in the meantime, after every 2 questions, he's going to show us a component from the game to try and narrow it down a bit. So. That's
good. My components are ready.
They're loaded and charged, ready to be fired at the screen. Okay, so the first question is, okay, I've got to put myself in a different mindset because these questions are different. Right. Is this game older than 5 years?
No.
Okay. Is this game was it originally a Kickstarter?
No.
Okay. Right.
Clue number 1.
Clue number 1.
I have some tiny wooden cubes, 4 different colours.
4 colours.
I'm going to ramp it up. I'm not going to make it easy for you. We're going to draw it out. Give the folks a show. You know.
Yeah, and I'm going to hide. I'm not looking at the. I'm not cheating and looking at what Kabuki Kid says, because she'll probably get it before anybody. So yeah, that was 4 different coloured small cubes that you kind of find on a score track.
In all fairness, if they can guess what game it is out of, is it a Kickstarter? Is it older than 5 years and it has coloured cubes in it? Respect. Don't have me on anymore. Just have them on. Clearly, they are more knowledgeable than me.
I keep trying to get Kabuki Kid on. We've had Philip. Maybe we'll get Philip back. If Burky's not back soon enough, then my co-host will be Philip. Okay, so 2 more questions. So it's not Kickstarter. It's not in the last 5 years. Okay, is this game a Euro game? Mainly Euro mechanics.
Yes. Okay. Kind of. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's a Euro trash because that's a very hard question to answer.
Okay. Okay. Does this game involve goods being
goods in
sold?
what sense?
Sorry.
Goods in what sense?
Goods as in items that to be delivered, picked up, collected.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Clue item number 2.
I have a gold coin.
Oh, it's a very nice gold coin with the number 5 on the middle.
Fun. And a question mark on the back. Ooh.
And the gold is, yeah, it's split in 2 colours. It's kind of like a browny gold and a yellowy gold.
That's the one. Yep, it is nicely illustrated. But you know, how many of these different gold pieces I've seen illustrated over a lifetime of board gaming?
It's incredible, you know, the amount of different currencies in board games. 4. Okay. I do not recognize that currency whatsoever. I will pass and carry on questioning you. Okay.
Because you don't know it, but about 4 people have already got it on the chat.
Okay.
I was hesitating to show that 1 second because if you know the money, you know, it's even though there are hundreds and hundreds of different illustrations for money in board games, you know, like I can recognize tokens from my favorite games anyway.
Yeah.
So if you played the game and liked it, it might have given it away soon, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. Does this game have the name of a country or town in its title?
No, it's not illustrated by a German illustrator either. I'll give you that one for free.
Okay. Are the resources to do with a particular classment, like food or material? Or...
No.
All right, so they're mixed then.
Yeah.
I can't spell resources. Okay.
Also, you're using the word resources, not me.
Ah, okay. So resources is not the correct word.
Basically, I'm helping him out, folks. He's all on his own. Don't want him to do it alone. Good. I thought that was a rubber chicken. If you'd have pulled out a rubber chicken, then that would have been perfect. That would have been so perfect. Anyway,
what if I pulled out a cat?
that works too. That works. If you'd have pulled out a real cat, though, that would have been bonus points.
Oh yeah, I would have sneezed everywhere.
Anyway, so clue number 3. So we have a treasure chest token, which when it turns round, ta-da!
Ah, so it's a fantasy game.
That's it. So it's got a treasure chest with a sort of like a metal dragon skull on one side, and the other side there's like a set of golden armor with a jewel with 25 written inside it.
Okay, I'm going to go for a wild stab in the dark and say, is it Clank?
Yes, it is. Well done.
Wow!
Well done.
I don't need Burky. I don't need Burky. Who else got it then?
Make it easier. I think the first person to get it was Ben Steeler of the Bagged Lunches. I also had the little dice bag, the cube bag rather.
Yeah.
And if you didn't get that, the meeple always gives it away, the little dragon meeple.
It wouldn't have given it away to me whatsoever.
Really? So how did you guess it then?
I don't know. I just had this feeling, you know, it's just like cubes and resources, fantasy game. You know, it's not and/or, but it's
so you're telling me, you're admitting on live YouTube television that you've never played Clank?
I haven't. It hasn't arrived in Europe yet, has it?
For shame. For shame.
You got it from Gen Con.
No, I got it from Philibert like every other. No, actually, no, I didn't actually get it from Philibert. I'll tell you what, I think my copy comes from the States, which was sold into Austria, which was then bought by a store in Germany, and I got it from Germany. So, you know, it's when this game first came out, it just sold out that quick. It's such a fun game. I love it to bits. When I was at Gen Con, they had the new one, Clank in Space. And bearing in mind, I'm an exhibitor, so I can get in fairly early. Even I wasn't in quick enough to get Clank in Space. I think half of the Clank in Space in that convention was bought by other professionals. It was absolutely ridiculous on it.
Wow.
So, but it's a great game. If you haven't played it, it is one of my favorite deck building games ever.
Oh, brilliant.
So much fun.
And I think it's mainly because we had Renegade Games on the show as well. So it's kind of like resonating in my head.
They've actually, in fact, going back to the things that they go, they've actually just opened a French studio.
Have they?
Yep.
Ah.
So I'm not sure what the objective is, if it's just to get games into France. I think it's Pixie Games distributing them, which is cool.
Yeah. I think it's probably to distribute this side of the planet, that's all.
Well, I'm not sure. I didn't have time to read all the press release when I saw it go by. But they were saying that it wasn't just about, you know, localizing and translating games. There was a development thing as well, so I'm not sure who's behind it, but it might have been that they've actually worked with Renegade before, and I don't know. But still, I really like Renegade Games, so I'm glad they're doing some stuff in France, you know. Okay,
so this is a game that you'd enter a tournament and think that you'd have a good chance.
Oh yeah, I think.
Why is that?
Because I think I'm currently like 10 or 11 games out of 12 victorious.
All right.
I seem to be pretty good at this one. I'm not too bad at it, so that's why generally.
Okay, you're not playing against your mum all the time, is it?
No. I'm playing against Olivier and other seasoned board gamers. So,
okay,
you know, most of which have already played. I'm not just clubbing baby seals here, you know. But, no, I seem to be all right with it. Now that I've said that, somebody's going to walk up to me at a game convention and go, "You Clank now," and we'll lose pathetically. But I do really like this game, and I seem to be okay with it. So you know, there you go.
Okay, that's what I do. I club seals when I was playing this little game here. I was like clubbing seals. Come here, daughter. Yes, let's play this. I'll tell you the secret powers.
For those of you that don't see, he's holding up a box of Outlaws, and there's a funny story behind that as well, because we've had like a free version of the game put up on BGA for people to play test before they buy it.
Yeah.
And the author's been on there quite a bit. And at the beginning, he was like, "Oh yeah, you know, there's a couple of people. He's very good at the game. Obviously, he's the author. Isn't actually that isn't always the case, but he is very good at his game." And he was like at the beginning, well, you know, I've been clubbing a few baby seals recently. But the thing is, Board Game Arena has like an ELO system. So he very quickly got ELO. And then he called me back a few days later and he's like, "Jamie, there's some monsters on this Board Game Arena thing. Like there's some horrible people on here that I can't beat. And it's my game. I can't beat them, but it's my game." Yeah, it's good fun.
There are gamers like that. Again, you know, Philip Tappy Mocket.
Yeah.
His game Blackwood, he plays it with his friend Gautier, and Gautier just wipes the floor with him every time. But he's like one of these guys that you just teach him the rules, he'll play the game, and he'll win it every time because he can see how everything interacts, and he can.
Veteran gamer.
Yeah, I'm just one person. I'm just gonna move there for the fun of it. If I die, I die. That's why I've died like 5 times in 7th continent.
Well, that's what I like about Clank, is that, you know, the idea is to dive and get your treasure and get out and the most points win. But all the cards are really thematic, all the cards are useful. There's a couple of things you want to get, you know, you need to have enough movement to get in and out. But generally, you know, if you go, oh, God, I'm going to go a bit further, and there's Clank, underwater Clank as well now, which is a mini expansion, which is really good, and you can really push your luck with the water parts to it as well. So it's very exciting. For me, it's a perfect blend of deck building and dungeon crawling. Yeah. Like for me, it's the best game that's ever done that, and I am counting in like much bigger actual dungeon crawling with mini games that also use card building, deck building mechanics. I think it's great. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, deck building is still great mechanic.
Yeah, deck building, it came back into, as Clank was coming out, it was really a vogue thing because you started to get, there was Shadows of the Underdark as well that just come out that was really good too. That was all deck building. I think Star Realms was back for their, I don't know how many, Kickstarter. You know, deck building is always fun. When it's done elegantly and properly, it's always fun.
Oh, yes, definitely. Okay, moving right along to question 2. Question 2 is, which celebrity, fictional or real, would Jamie love to sit down and play a game with, even if they weren't a gamer? Have you drawn a picture? Have you printed off some pictures, Jamie?
No, this is the part we didn't have time. Well, I didn't have time to prepare.
Okay. Okay, then.
I warned you beforehand.
Yeah.
No, that's my fault.
See if this works. There you go, live television. The Vader death.
The choke grab. No, basically, what happened, folks, is that at first I was meant to be a guest, and then I was co-host. So I was like, do I even need to do this now? I don't know. And I still got the game. I got everything else ready. It was just that one.
Okay, no worries. What we do is we're still from the part 3, and you can give us. I'm talking plural all the time.
Yeah.
That's me. Well, the glasses actually make my eyes look like Gollum.
Not us.
Yeah. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to give me 5 one-worded clues to the person.
All right. Okay, then. So... right, I want to look at the chat as well when I do this. I think this will be fun. And yes, Philip, I have played Spice Road. I do like that as well. Not my favorite, but I do like it. What was I about to say? So yes, 5 one-word clues. So I'm gonna start with coffee cup.
Coffee cup. And this is a celebrity or...
This is a celebrity I would like to play a board game with.
A coffee cup. God. I'm going to go with George Clooney.
No, but good guess. Very good guess. That wouldn't be bad, but no. I do like the Clune, but no, I don't know if he'd make a particularly good board gaming partner. Yeah, he'd bring lots of coffee though. You could go late night with that guy.
Yeah, Nespresso is just like 6 bags worth. It's incredible.
Yeah. Hi guys. Espresso.
Yeah. Woo! We're going to be playing Twilight Imperium. Woo!
It's like a sort of like a coffee drinking game, basically. Just
yeah. 7th continent without saving. Yay!
Yeah. Who's ready for a marathon? Just put it in my veins. Yeah.
Okay.
So second word will be cars.
Wow. Yeah. Cars have been your first one. I would have said Gary Newman. But
no, definitely not.
Coffee and cars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pass. Give me a third one.
Okay, I'm going to go for Witch Hunter.
Ooh. That's giving me a great amount of silence to cut out of the audio.
Yes, but sometimes silence speaks 1,000 words. Or is that pictures? I don't know.
Yes.
If we listened really closely, you could probably just hear your little brain go.
I can just hear my hard drive ticking. Oh, Witch Hunter. I'm just trying to think of actors that have played witch hunters.
Not that I want to disgrace you, but people have already guessed it on the chat as well.
Okay, so I've been pipped to the post already. I'm going to go with Peter Cushing because he played a witch hunter.
No, good guess though. Good guess. Okay.
I don't know if he was into cars or coffee.
Okay, so now I have to be very careful with my words if I want to draw this out. So I'm going to say. I'm going to say an X.
X is in like a naughty word?
As in the letter X. I'm not allowed to say naughty words, Barry. I like saying naughty words, but you told me not to.
Yeah, I know. There's another channel for that, mate.
Oh, okay. Why don't I get invited on that channel then?
Because I'm not invited either. I can't invite you. X. Wow. X. Coffee, cars. No, I'm thinking of you know, all the people that are going through my head are personalities that we see here on adverts on French television. So I'm seeing Johnny Depp for some reason.
Oh God, no! You'll never get this guy on an advert in France. Oh God, no!
He's on all the time. It's the Diesel advert or something like that.
Johnny Depp, come on, man! Who doesn't like the Depp?
Yeah, who doesn't like the Depp? X, I'm thinking of Treasure. Witch Hunter, I'm sure he's played a Witch Hunter. Cars, I don't know. I think he's in debt with cars. Coffee, I don't know what coffee's got to do with anything anymore.
Gone past that point.
I'm gonna pass again. Last one.
Right, I'll throw you a bone here. So my last word is bald.
Bold.
Bald.
Was in no hair, or is in brave?
As in no hair.
As in no hair. Bold. Kojak. Kojak wasn't it? No. Oh, Patrick Stewart.
No. No. When did Patrick Stewart play a witch hunter?
I don't know. You might have.
No. Sorry, Barry. I tried to help you. Who
is it before I look at the chat?
It's Vin Diesel.
I thought it was Triple X.
Well, Vin Diesel is Triple X.
Yeah, but you said 1X.
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to say Triple X because that's 2 words and that would have just given it away.
I was thinking Triple X. When you said X, I was thinking Triple X, and I was going, no, it can't be because that's 3 X's.
Oh, well.
Cars, yeah, I can see Cars because Fast and Furious. Witch Hunter, he's played a Witch Hunter.
Yeah.
Coffee, where's that come from? Because
in the Chronicles of Riddick, he warns a guy that he can kill him with anything, and then he kills him with a coffee cup.
Yes, he does. Fantastic.
And then he's bald. So yes, it's just one of these guys. I remember reading because for the last Witch Hunter, I don't know if you're aware, but when they got him to play that film because apparently he's a massive D&D nerd, and they were like, you can be a witch hunter and just kind of make your own D&D character for this film, and he was like, whoa, yeah, I'm in. And so to promote the film, they actually played like a game of D&D with him and some other guys, and he just looks so much fun. And plus, there's something very, I don't know, intriguing about playing a role-playing game with a game master that could literally break you in half. You know, roll for initiative.
Yeah, but that's basically what the role of Riddick turned into after Pitch Black. He got together with the director. I can't remember his name, but you know, he spoke about, you know, making a whole universe based on role playing, and that's how Riddick kind of like evolved.
That's the one. That's it. So, and sorry, Ben Steeler was saying, yeah, the D&D he did was with Matthew Mercer, because if you're going to do live D&D, you might as well go hard or go home. And yeah, the movie character is one he played as a kid. So, you know, there's a kind of, I'm kind of waiting for him to show up on the season 2 of Stranger Things now.
And not at Gen Con, no?
I wish. I wish. Oh, you won't get me off him.
No, I bet you.
I do like that guy. I do like that guy. So yeah, there you go. Vin Diesel.
Well done, everybody online.
It was a close tie. Which one I wanted to choose between her or is it Christy Christensen or something? The lady that plays Brienne of Tarth.
Oh right.
Because she seems mental. She seems absolute riot, you know.
Oh right.
So there you go.
Obviously, I haven't watched all the behind the scenes videos yet. So.
There is one scene in an interview with her where she's like, well, what's the funnest thing you did today? Oh, I bit a guy's ear off. That was great. So there you go.
Okay, question number 3. Excuse me.
So
that's the key. So question number 3 is there a game that you would love to see an expansion for?
There is.
Okay, it can be a game that you love and want, or is it a game that you wanted to like, but it feels like there's something missing.
Okay, so
5
more points again. Off we go again. Okay, well, once again, it is a board game. Never fear.
Unless you want to draw it.
No. Okay, I'm not prepared for that. You know how I spend my life like sketching things out at work and working with artists and doing that kind of thing. Is there a pen in my house? Do you think there's a pen in my house? Really? You think so? Oh, God, no.
I was cleaning my room up the other day and I found 4 pens on my desk. It's like every time I pass the phone, I pick one up, stick it behind my ear, and then come in here and it's...
Are they chewed at the end, though? That's the real question.
No, they're not.
No. Oh, you're missing out, man. Best taste ever. Anyway, getting back to the question at hand.
Seriously?
So yeah, all you can eat. What was it going at? 5 more clues. So I'm going to start with the word horror, which narrows it down significantly. You can thank me later.
Does indeed. Okay, I'm going to start with the obvious. Last Night on Earth.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to say... No, that would be too obvious. That wouldn't be obvious enough. That would be a bit of a giveaway. I'm going to say Ameritrash.
Okay. I could say Last Night on Earth again.
Yeah, you could. But it does rule out things like, I don't know, oh, damn it, Dead of Winter. There we go.
Dead of Winter, yeah.
Right. So
I would go with Ameritrash, horror game, Zombicide.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know if I qualify Zombicide as a horror game. Maybe.
Yeah.
A horror theme game.
It's a horror theme game.
Yeah. Oh, admittedly, this board game doesn't make you feel like you're terrified either. It's not Atmosphere. Okay. When you're 9 years old and you're in the Big Brother's bedroom, which is scared the daylights out of me. Anyway, so that's let's go for investigation.
Ooh, it's got to be Arkham Horror.
No, it's not.
No, I bet you it's the other one.
Well, if I don't say Cthulhu by the end, you'll know.
Yeah, but you could say Shalom or
I suppose you could. Yeah.
What are the other monsters' names? I can never remember them.
There's so many of them.
Yeah.
But I'll throw you a bone and say it's not Cthulhu at all. Nothing's related to Cthulhu.
That's gentle of you.
I know, right?
Has anyone guessed on the Thorum yet?
No, not yet. I'm going to say, well, it's 2 words this time. I'm going to say Sleepy Hollow.
Yes, I saw you post a picture of this on Instagram.
Oh, gosh, I've been given away by my Instagram account.
Yes, you have. It's got to be it's the other Flying Frog game.
It is. That's when you said that first one. I was like, oh, this might be quicker than we thought. Come on, now you got to get the game. You got to get the name though.
A Touch of Evil.
There we go. Excellent game. Love that game.
Yeah. Why is that?
Just because it's almost a love letter to Talisman, which sounds really weird, I know, but it is a roll and move, like, character development investigation game. But the theme is so good. Like, it bleeds out its kind of like horror investigation theme. I keep using the word theme too much there. I love that bit. I love that it's stupidly replayable because all the different monsters make every single game more different. And what I really love is just you feel like this is the game that Flying Frog got together to do, because there's no artwork in this game. It's all photoshopped images of them in like live action role playing gear. And so like the big bad guys, like one of the creators just, they're like, oh, and it's got like a red lion, it's been photoshopped a bit, and it looks just super pulp. It looks like a bad 90s horror film, but it's so good, you know. It's one of those, it's cool, you know, it's a classic. A
hammer horror. That's what
exactly.
When I look at it, it's hammer horror.
So the only reason I say that, because some people might be saying, well, hold on, you know, there's like a load of expansions for this game, and there's like 2 extra boards and some extra heroes and all that kind of thing. The only reason I've mentioned it is because, as you saw, I played it recently, and I'm just like, this game is so good. And when I was in Gen Con, I picked it, you know, because I had a friend back in Oliot who had everything, like the entire collection. And every Halloween, we dress up and then we do a marathon game of this, which I love playing this game. But I've never owned it. So when I went to Gen Con, I went looking for it. And I found Flying Frog, and I was like, you know, they've got all the deals on for all the new games and all that kind of thing, all the way back to Last Night on Earth. And I was like, I don't see any signs for a Touch of Evil. Actually, to find someone, say, have you guys got like a Touch of Evil in? I was half expecting to turn around and go, Touch of what? and yeah, they had it hidden at the back. I just think it's such a great game, and it's overshadowed by a load of stuff nowadays, and it doesn't deserve to be. So maybe an expansion would kind of reinvigorate it a little bit. That's my feelings anyway.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. I've never played a Touch of Evil. Last Night on Earth is my kind of like cornerstone of Flying Frog. And that for me is, you know, it does capture the pulp 1980 horror films. Definitely. You know? But
I just love the kind of Sleepy Hollow aesthetics you get from a Touch of Evil.
Yeah. It does look like that.
And I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't actually played Last Night on Earth. I heard a lot of good things about it, but another thing I really like about Touch of Evil is that whether you're playing it 2 players, 4 players, cooperatively or competitively, it's always great fun.
Oh,
you know, and don't even know which one I prefer, whether I prefer to play as like 4 players cooperative, 4 competitive, or, you know, me and my sister played the other night, just 2 of us cooperatively, and it was great. We won by that. Just literally by that. And I love games that when you throw them down and it gives you such a strong story to go away and tell to your friends.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You know, really good fun.
Yeah, definitely. That is the best part about gaming, is when you can tell stories afterwards of all the wonderful things that you did and all the times that you died horribly.
Yes. Well, we managed not to die horribly this time, but you die horribly a lot on the 7th continent, I hear.
I do. It's like, I feel like Tom Cruise in The Edge of Tomorrow. But the thing is, I like it when Tom Cruise dies because I hate him. It's like, yes, he's died in the field. Woo!
Oh, he's back again. Oh, well. Can't win them all, can you?
Can't win them all, exactly. So there you go. There's 3 questions. Did you do well? Did you get 3 for 3? Did you beat me to the post with the answers?
No, well, they got the first 2, but you got Touch of Evil, obviously, because you have exclusive access to my Instagram account. So there you go.
Yes, we will end the conversation there.
my safe for work Instagram account. There you go.
Okay, yeah, that's the one. Oh dear, I like giggling with you. Oh dear me.
Edit out with the laughing.
Oh, definitely.
This podcast will be too long. Damn it.
It's gonna be very long. Oh, Ali, I need to pour some or several. Ellie, find track number 6. Find graphic number whatever it is. There it is. Doesn't cover me well. And play music for those of you watching, so you know what section we're doing. Do you know what section we're doing, those of you watching? Yes, it is.
And now it's time for the Babble, 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 Burky and Badger's board game Babble.
I'm offended you didn't change the entire song to change Burky to Jamie. I'm really offended now.
You know, that if I'd have thought about it, I could have done that in 10 minutes.
Well, there you go then. You'll know for next time.
I'll know for next time. So, here we are in Babble Square. Oh, maybe I should do my Pycelle voice. Yeah, I'll do my Pycelle.
Can you do a Pycelle voice?
Yes. Yes. Well, here we are in the Babble Square again. Listening to the chatter of all the friends that live here. Yes, that's right. Some are extremely happy. Others, not so. Why? Well, some of them believe that board game companies are just printing their own money. Case in point, Fantasy Flight. Not too long ago. That wasn't really Pycelle at all, was it? That was someone else.
I think it was quite convincing. I'm very glad I'd met the actor for Pycelle in London.
Have you?
Yeah, just we were having lunch or something with my family just in a restaurant, and I looked over my shoulder, and he's just there.
Julian, yeah.
Wait till he finishes it. It's like, are you Grandmaster Pycelle? Very nice to meet you. I love your work. Thank you. I was like, oh, I'm probably going to get assassinated by the Lannisters now.
Yeah. Who put this dragonfire under my pillow? That's why we like having you on the show, because you actually take Babble as what it really is.
I can babble. It's just whether you want the long version, the long babble, or the short babble. I try and limit myself to short babbling. Otherwise, this will be a very lengthy podcast.
Yes, we will challenge all other podcasts to be as long as ours. So where was I? Oh, no, yes. Back to the Babble. In case in point, Fantasy Flight released Twilight Imperium 4, a massive, expensive, and expansive game that has already had an overhaul, and gamers are flocking to it like it's the latest iPhone, whatever that is. Anyhow, let's break it down into sections. Yes, are board game companies milking us, or are they just trying to make a good, honest living? Luckily, we have...
I can't get the image. You said break it down in Pycelle's voice, and now I have like the image of DJ Pycelle in my head. Like, break it down in Westeros.
Bring it, the chains. Yeah.
Right, moving on.
Okay, so how do we feel, and what do we think about games that had an overhaul like TI4 and Descent? I need to switch on the chat so I can see what's going on. Balling Brothers is always too long. Yes. No. Yes. So we need to break their record, do we, Philip? Okay.
Is it? Okay. Do we need to brawl? Do we have to fight? Is that what this is?
No, it's another podcast.
Oh, okay. Why do I never get invited to those podcasts?
I don't know.
Anyway, Twilight Imperium. This is not the kind of subject. If you want to talk down about Twilight Imperium, I am not the man to talk to, because I love Twilight Imperium. If you want to know what my most played board game is,
go on.
It's Twilight Imperium. I have played maybe 40 to 50 games of that bad boy. Like, when I was doing my studies in Sheffield, like my best friends who still live in Sheffield now, it's kind of what brought us together. It's such a, well, there's multiple aspects to this. From a personal point of view, and I think this is what a lot of people feel about Twilight Imperium, it's a very Marmite-y kind of game. Now, for the Americans that don't know what that means, Marmite is this... Do you like Marmite, Barry?
I've got a jar of Marmite and a jar of Bovril in my cupboard. Okay. I eat both.
Okay, so basically, I will be no to Marmite and Barry will be yes to Marmite. So to me, Marmite is this disgusting brown vomity paste thing that has no reason to exist. No, yeast belongs in bread or beer, Barry. Bread or beer. Not in some sort of spreadable crap. Right? So when we say something is Marmite, you either love it or you hate it, which is, funny enough, their slogan for this actual food. You know, they own that completely.
Yeah.
Twilight
you have Marmite flavoured Twiglets, and people...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, Twiglets already.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about board games, people either love Twilight Imperium or they hate it generally. And those that do love it generally have some epic stories to tell, because it's one of these games, like Touch of Evil, that just generates epic games, you know? And just epic events, because it's such a long game if you want it to be. Like, me and my friends always used to house rule the shit out of it. And we would actually, if we wanted a long, weekend-long game, which we did many times, we would take out the ability that got you free victory points, which was more or less a timer for the end of the game. We'd take that out. So, you know, you had to work for your game, for your win, as it were. And I remember one Friday night, my friend called me up and said, well, you know, my girlfriend's family's friend is going away and they need us to house it. And I was like, why are you calling me? And he's like, well, this guy's a surgeon, and not any surgeon either. So his house is pretty nice. And the idea is that we go up, house sit this guy's house and cat, and then just play Twilight Imperium all weekend. So I ruck up on my bike to this really posh area of Sheffield, into this really swanky house. Like, it was such a nice house. Jacuzzi, like 4 bathrooms, the lot. Great.
So you got stories about playing Twilight Imperium in the jacuzzi?
In other people's... Well, no, we didn't play Twilight Imperium in the jacuzzi, but we would play Twilight Imperium for like 1 or 2 hours at a time, and then we go away and eat. But that's when the real fun happens. That's when diplomacy kicks in. And it's like, I see you've got that system there. And so we're all in the jacuzzi like proper diplomatic fat cats. Like, so if you leave me Megatol Rex, I'll give you a good price on Tiberium. And it's such a good weekend, and that's all we did. All we did was like piss around and play Twilight Imperium in some other dude's house for an entire weekend. But it's these kind of games that stick with you. And when I saw they were re-releasing it, and it's a lovely box and it's huge and the contents are beautiful, because my friend bought it at Gen Con, but I didn't get there quick enough to buy one. But I will get one eventually, never fear. For me, it's great. I don't have the original game because, once again, it's like A Touch of Evil. Up to this point, all my friends always had it. Am I excited about seeing it again? Yes, to be honest, because it's a great reason to start playing a game again. And in this respect, they have gone above and beyond what the original game was. You know, the material is good. Barry, it's a fantasy flight game with a plastic tray insert. No! Down! So, wow! I know, right? Just for that, it's worth talking about. But, you know, it's all the models are new. Like, they've changed a load of the rules. A lot of the stuff is actually stuff we house ruled, so we're kind of like, we got that right.
It's familiar, yeah.
Kind of proud of ourselves there. But, you know, they've retuned some of the character of some of the races. They've made them more unique, you know, more fun to play, more different. It's great. For me, it's really, really good. And as Kabuki Kid is saying, there is a very interesting documentary about it all, because Twilight Imperium is the game that made Fantasy Flight Games. So historically, it's a very interesting game. Yeah, it's going back to the original question: are companies cashing in on, you know, reprints and re-editions and that kind of thing? Yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, they are companies. They, you know, we're here to live, make money, so we can, you know, feed our cats and pay our rent and that kind of thing. Sometimes it's a bit flagrant. You know, I'm kind of getting fed up of the USAopoly bullshit with reprinting Monopoly with 15 different themes. If you want a cash cow, that's a cash cow you can go for. Yeah. I think Sorry, go on.
But the joke for many years was, Twilight Imperium 4, Twilight Imperium 4. And for some reason, they've done a Twilight Imperium 4. Why can't they find that game that just sits right? You know, what did they do wrong in the first 3 to make 4?
I don't really think it's a question of anything sitting wrong. Like, they could have never published Twilight Imperium again, and people would have been very happy with what they have. It's just that since they published Twilight Imperium 3, like everything within the board game, like industry has evolved, like miniatures, printing, everything. You know, they couldn't have made the like. It's kind of like Kickstarter. Kickstarter should be used to make a game that you couldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
With Twilight Imperium, they've kind of done a Kickstarter game without Kickstarter because they're FFG and they're rolling in it. So, you know, whatever, they don't care. But that's why the game costs $150. Yeah, it is. You open it. Like me and my friends have, like I said, played this game to death. And we opened this back at our Airbnb one evening in Gen Con. And we were just like, oh my God, this is so nice. Oh, sorry, I need a minute. You know,
yes.
it's when you open something like that and you go, oh yeah, this is good. You know, it's you go, okay, I'm okay to replace my old games with that. And at the same time, you are talking to a war gamer though. So I've been playing the Space Marines since I was 9 years old, and they're the same Space Marines with the same bolt guns. The rules change a little bit, but you know, I still play them. It's there are more flagrant rip-offs, money grabs, in my opinion, if you want. Like I said, anything that comes out of USAopolis toys is generally grabbing.
So you believe that games like this have been reproduced due to the fact that times have changed and the mechanics need to be tweaked to suit the audience, to change the playing time, to change the experience, as well as you say, the components, which I don't think is a major reason for doing like Twilight Imperium 17, you know.
No, I mean, at this point now, Twilight Imperium 5 may not be justified. Like, if they ever do it, I'm not sure why we'd need it. I mean, I could have said that about the 3rd edition at one point, but, you know, you play it enough and you go, oh, these rules are still a bit clunky. You play through 4 and you're like, okay, they have definitely ironed this bad boy out. This is good to go.
Yeah.
So is Twilight Imperium 5 justified? We shall see. I don't think so, looking at what they've got, but then again, that might change in 5 years' time. Who knows what's going to happen, you know?
Yeah, so, I mean, they can justify Matches of Madness 2nd edition because it integrated the app and it made the game unbreakable in a way, because when you play it without the app, it's breakable if you put the cards in the wrong order and the wrong spaces.
Of course.
So I can understand that, but, you know, it's... I don't know. I have played Twilight Imperium once at midnight in French with 8 players, which was a bit hard to grasp when your French is not that great at the beginning.
It's a bit of a hard game to get started off with, I'll admit that. Oh, yes. But like Kabuki Kid is saying about Eric Martin, joking that he's holding out for the 5 or 10th edition anniversary of Terraforming Mars. Once again, if they brought out if FFG did Terraforming Mars,
that'd be a good rule book.
Then that would be you said it, not me. No, but I like Terraforming Mars. Mechanically, it's great. Components and such.
Okay.
If they were to redo that one day, you go, oh, this is definitely better, you know. But for me, these reprints or these re-editions of existing games that don't change that much apart from a bit of tweaking and a bit of components are very much different, in my opinion, from things like Descent.
Yeah.
Which Descent, the difference between Descent 1 and Descent 2 is just night and day. Like, I like Descent 1, but I love Descent 2. It is totally different. And a much better play experience, in my opinion. So, but then you have to have games that move with the times, you know.
Yeah, true. You got to appeal to the masses.
Not even that. You've got to appeal to. You just got. Well, I don't know. My opinion is not always everybody else's opinion. Like me, the most important thing isn't appealing to the masses. It's actually appealing to yourself, because if you like the game and you're invested in it and you're passionate about it, then generally you'll make a good game. You know, as long as you've got a bit of culture and a couple of marbles knocking around in there. But, you know, it's with things like Descent, there is an evolution.
Yeah.
There is. You look at it and you go, okay, Descent 1 was good, Descent 2 is great. The expansions, when they come out, it's like, well, now I've doubled my playability because I have loads of new characters, loads of new monsters, loads of new scenarios. And if you like Descent, then go nuts, you know. And now the app has come out. The app's fantastic.
Yeah, it does very good.
That's even more. So you've bought one game and you have so many ways to play it, you know? So many different things you can do with it. I mean, I have the base game. and one of the big expansion packs and a couple of the monsters or heroes expansions. But with the app, I can play the standard campaign as a just like one versus many. I can play with the app. I can play a different scenario with the app. There's loads of stuff to do, so it's I really like it for that.
Yeah, so you don't believe that a retheming instead of doing a something number 7, it wouldn't have sufficed. It wouldn't have sold as well. Do you think if they'd done Twilight Imperium with a different theme, if it had been the same, not the same mechanisms, but a rehaul, but with a different universe, if they've got a license, if they've got like a Firefly license or a Star Wars license involved, do you think it would have sold as well?
To be honest, I think so, because anybody that's in the I mean, we're talking like core gaming market here. Anybody that's in the industry knows Twilight Imperium. They know how much of a big deal it is, and chances are any like really go at it hard gamers out there will like Twilight Imperium. So a new version of Twilight Imperium is big news. It's like a new Star Wars film.
And so it appeals to the same audience.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You've got all of FFG's fan base, everybody that likes Twilight Imperium or big strategy games. This is a big thing. Other things, it's not always that. I mean, you put in the list, we've got things like collectible games. I would argue that is the point of a collectible game. But, the point is to, I mean, don't get me wrong, you invest and you invest and you invest, but you get out. Nobody forces you to invest. If you're enjoying X-Wing, nobody forces you to keep buying X-Wing. You buy X-Wing if you want to experience X-Wing. You could buy X-Wing or you could buy a totally different game. The choice is really yours. Is it a cash-in that sense? No, because that's what the game is offering you. It's you've got the base box, here's some TIE fighters, here's some X-Wings. If you want more, it's there. There you go. You don't have to buy it, but if you want to grow your gaming experience, whether it be Descent or any of the collectible card games or X-Wing, then it's all there. It's like people saying that Magic is just a giant money pit. It is, but if you didn't know that when you went into it, then more the fool you. Basically.
True.
There's a couple of things. Reprints is the next one on the list.
Okay. You jumped down a bit, but it doesn't matter. That kind of ties in with what I was saying about Descent being reprinted as Star Wars Imperial Assault. The same mechanisms. Changed a few tiny little bits.
Okay, this is a much more interesting example for a discussion. So technically it is Descent. At the same time, though, it did introduce quite a few cool new things, such as alternative turns, for example. That wasn't in the base game in Descent. Other than that, it is a dungeon crawler meant to cash in on the license which they already hold. It is, at the same time, it's a cool idea. It works, They've put a PvP system into it, like a versus system, which isn't in Descent. They brought forward a lot of new ideas, which have made it into Descent through the apps, such as alternative activations, which is great. I mean, I would go so far as saying if you're playing a normal game of Descent and with a game master, dungeon master versus players, just do alternate activations anyway. It's so much more fun,
Definitely. I would agree.
At the end of the day, yes, they have cashed in on the license, but it's their license that they spent money on. And clearly, given the success of Imperial Assault, nobody's going to really talk down about it, It does offer a different experience to Descent, because even though the rule set is very, 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 very similar, even a couple of things like saying, okay, well, all of my characters can shoot, which is true. In Star Wars, basically everybody shoots.
Apart from the Jedi.
Well, even most of the Jedi shoot, even Luke has a pistol, at least the first Luke. I don't know there's a new Luke, I think. Mostly everybody has a ranged attack compared to Descent, where very few people have a ranged attack apart from the mages and the
the archers.
Exactly. But they get around it by having a lot of movement abilities, in my opinion. Whereas Imperial Assault, because everybody is ranged, then cover comes into it a lot more. Positioning comes into it a lot more. I find,
and that's why they changed the line of sight rules as well.
Yeah, exactly. So at the same time, I mean, I have a lot of respect for what FFG have done for the industry and through their games. Are there a couple of games that are a bit, yes, yeah, there are. There are with any publisher, but things like that where they've taken a good rule set, put a new license on it, and adapted the rule set to best fit the license,
yeah,
then we are on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Unlike things like Love Letter or Munchkin, where they're taking the rule set and they're putting it into another thing, which will appeal to a different spectrum of people. You know, some people might go directly to Munchkin Vampire, and some people might just go directly to Munchkin Star Munchkin, which is me. I can admit to that.
I mean, I played so much Munchkin during my student years that I now cannot play that game anymore. I despise it. I don't. For me, it is now on the same level. And I know Munchkin is very popular and people really like it. This is my personal opinion, folks, so please don't hang me from a tree. I see Munchkin on the same level as Monopoly now.
Yeah.
Not because, well, not for the same reasons. Like, it's not as bad as Monopoly is, don't get me wrong. Though you could argue Monopoly isn't that bad, but that's a whole different kettle of fish. In the sense that it's just, you know, oh, Rick and Morty, we can stick that on this box. Oh, is that My Little Pony? We can put that on this box. Oh, is that this? We can put it on the box. And it's just starting to get a bit boring now, guys. You know, it'd be good if you could move on and whatever, you know.
Yeah. But the thing is, that's the thing. You only need to buy one version of Munchkin and be happy. But you've obviously, you know, eaten the whole a bowl of Marmite one night, and that's it. you can't face a Marmite anymore. No. It's just like you're Marmited out.
I've Marmited out. Yeah, I have hit Marmite, the Marmite ceiling. Yeah, it's these kind of games. I mean, I'm talking about Rick and Morty and that kind of thing. There are some companies out there, and even we even go through Kickstarter and that kind of thing that, you know, oh, I've got a mechanic, I've got a license, I'm just going to smush the two together and make money.
Yeah.
And there are big publishers and there are small publishers that are guilty of this, and the games just turned out terrible. I mean, so bad. Like, I'm not going to name any because, once again, I don't want to be hung from the rafters, but there are just some shockingly bad licensed games out there where it's been a super poor attempt to shoehorn a theme into a mechanic that just does not fit.
Yeah.
And even if it does fit, it doesn't make it interesting, you know? It's like, oh, really? There you go. So in that case, yeah, that's a money grab for me.
Yeah. I was feeling that way when I saw the other day that Century, was it Spice Road?
Yeah.
Has another version of the same game, but with different art in a bigger box with bigger chunkier gems.
Okay, there is a story behind that, actually. I learned this at Gen Con this year.
Okay.
When they first made Century, it was the Golem. That was the first prototype, and they showed it around to everybody. All the big publishers. Nobody wanted it. Nobody. They wouldn't. It's exactly the same game as it is now. It was just Golem themed. Nobody wanted to touch it. They changed the theme. Everybody wanted it, and now it's been a big success. The Golem, for me, the Golem is just a big middle finger to everybody going, well, you know, you didn't want it then. Obviously, you want it now. That's how I see. That's how I'd like to see it. It's more of an exclusive online thing, like a very limited print run, as far as I've understood it, than an actual game that is coming out. If you like Century, but you're not bothered about golems, there's no point to buy it unless you want a collector's piece.
Yeah. It's like I wouldn't want to buy a bigger box version of Splendor. I love Splendor to bits. I wouldn't buy a bigger version with crystals and whatever. It's like the 10th anniversary to mind. Like, you know, the bigger trains are nice and everything, but I've got this one here, you know. Yeah,
but this is the thing. At the end of the day, Barry, we're all collectors, more or less. You know what we are? You know what every board gamer, war gamer, anybody that's into this kind of thing is? We're magpies. We're all filthy magpies. If it shines, we want it.
I would kind of disagree with you. Really? I've been looking at a lot of board game forums, and there are these people that go, okay, this game's coming out or this Kickstarter's coming out, I want everything. And I'm like, you sad person. And I've probably just insulted half the audience. But it's like, you know, you don't have to have everything to enjoy the game.
Oh no, definitely not.
You can get away with just the base game. Again, I'm still just playing the base missions of Conan and enjoying myself. I have deliberately not opened the expansions for the 7th continent, so I can play the base game and feel how the base game feels. and give a review on that. I'm not worried about the expansions too much. Yeah, the game's great, and I've played it to death, and it's... Sorry, I've been totally distracted by Secret of Nymph. Thank you, Philip.
Sparkly. Okay.
I love that film. Sparkly.
I know what you mean, though, but any game that can't be straight out the box interesting, like maybe that is my one criticism of Descent. Well, there's a couple, I suppose, but none of them. One of my biggest criticisms of Descent would be when you open the box, you have 4 heroes and 4 classes, and that's it. If you want anything else, like if you want to have any depth to your characters, and get interest, because a lot of the time in Descent, it's all about mixing the right characters with the right classes to become really fun, for me anyway. And when you first open Descent box and you have 4 characters and they each have their set class, you're like, well, we're not going to get very far with this, are we? So, but that means you have to add a couple of heroes, a couple of monsters, and then it becomes a bit more varied and interesting.
And then buy a dice pack because there's not enough dice.
Yeah, that's it. Would have killed them to put a few more dice in that, would it? Really?
No, it wouldn't have.
Yeah,
I agree with you. It's a game which you get the base lot and you want a bit more, and you just want a bit more elbow room to flex. And I've fallen down that trap. But again, it's just like you buy 1 or 2 expansions. You don't have to own all of them. I mean, when Star Wars Imperial Assault came out, my thing was I must own it all. Because it was like, okay, they go, oh wow, it's cool, it's Star Wars, and maybe I can correct the stories that they screwed up on the big screen. It's like, yeah, it's my chance to rewrite.
Die, Jar Jar Binks, die!
And I just wanted to collect it all, but then it gets to a point where it's like, well, no, my money, my wallet won't support it, and 2, it's not getting to the table, so it's like.
What I will do with what I did with myself with Imperial Assault is like, right, this looks awesome, love it, love everything that's in it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the base box and any expansions related to just the base box. So I bought, the special, all the special characters that you have tokens for in the base box, and that kind of thing. And then that's it. I'm not going to buy anything else until I've done everything in this campaign, and I still haven't. So no, I have it all. I've even painted it all. It's actually one of the few board games I painted.
Wow.
And I'm not going to buy any more until I finished it. I think I bought the Return to Hoth. However, I did buy Return to Hoth, and I bought the. I bought the mini expansion for the first campaign, Twin Shadows.
No. Yeah.
Because you get some rather cool heroes in that, which I was kind of tempted by. And of course, you have the famous bounty hunter himself.
Yes.
So that's always fun to have.
Oh, yes.
I think I bought Return to Hoth simply because I wanted the heroes that were in there to give a bit more variety. But apart from that, people won't play this game with me. They won't, because the last 2 times I've played it with new groups, they're like, oh, Jamie, you play war games. Why don't you be the bad guy? That way, you won't be outclassed, and just absolutely smash them. Everybody's dead, Jamie. What have you done? Roll the credits.
Yeah.
There you go. So, it's sorry that just came out there. One of my repressed anxieties about this game, but it's no different from video games or books. You always want to see the next one or the next big thing or moving along. That kind of thing.
Yes. I think we skipped expansions.
Oh, yes, so we did. Sorry.
If a game comes out and they just plaster out expansions willy-nilly, do you feel that's a cash grab, or do you feel it's just feeding the masses what they want? I mean, in regards to Carcassonne, I think that the first couple of expansions were like rules and extra things that they had when they actually designed the original game. And obviously they didn't want to squeeze it all into one box, and so they spread it out. And obviously over the popularity over the years, it's like every year they have to pump out a expansion just to please the masses.
It's kind of getting slightly old now, but then again, everything is subjective. Every game, every expansion, because you may have an expansion that is worth it for a game and another one that feels like a bit of a cop-out. I'm going to change subjects every so quickly and talk about Seven Wonders, because that's a fantastic game, But
No, it's not.
I really like it.
Sorry.
No. But once again, this is something that you may have opinions on this on Seven Wonders expansions that I don't forcibly have. But I say that I don't think all the Seven Wonder expansions are worth it. I mean, there is one or two that you desperately need to have to really make the game cool, which I think is Leaders and I've forgotten now another one. There's one or two anyway that make Seven Wonders even better. The others are just a bit. I could do without this. I could do without this. They're cool, but am I really going to play them or not? I'm saying that, I'm talking down about a game that's won God knows how many awards and sold how many hundreds of thousands of copies. But
yeah, but you can be wrong.
Well, once again, it's with certain games. I mean, it's all Kickstarter for a moment. I have a theory in Kickstarter. It's called the $200 rule. And basically, it means that if you back a game on Kickstarter and you spend over $200, you will not admit that game is bad. Because you've waited 12, well, most people will not admit the game is bad because you've waited a long time for it and spent a lot of money. So this game is going to be good. Whether the game wants it or not, it will be good. And it's happened to me on one or two occasions, where I'd be like, this is really cool. And then I played it a couple of more times and go, no, Jamie, no, this is actually a bit shit, really. It's just, everything's so subjective, I mean, we've got things like Last Night on Earth on the expansions list.
Yeah.
If you offer me an expansion for A Touch of Evil, I will bite your hand off. That was the answer to one of my questions earlier.
Yeah, it was.
I would love to get, and it already has 3 maps, like 20 characters, about 15 monsters, and it's already got stuff coming out the wazoo. But I like this game so much, and I can see it being more. I think that's what it really comes down to. Does the player? Does you as a player say to yourself, that will make my game experience better?
No. No, I mean,
sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. I mean, the Boba Fett model for Imperial Assault, will having this model
make the game better?
Will it make the game better?
No, it doesn't. That's the thing. There are games that do that, though. There are games that have expansions. If you buy them, it makes the game better, and I think that's a great thing. I praise the companies that do that. They've actually gone that extra mile. I'm looking forward to the new Splendor expansion. I'm looking forward to the new Jamaica expansion, because that looks like it's adds a little element on top to throw in a bit more complexity in. Because my daughter is now 10, she plays Jamaica easily.
But the thing is, Barry, are you getting trapped by what sells expansions here? Because have you played the expansion? Have you read about it? Have you? I'm not attacking you with this. It's a general question, because Jamaica is a great game. At what point did you play Jamaica and go, this really needs an expansion? Or is it just because the expansion is there that you want it?
It's because the expansion's there. And as I said, we've got to a level of playing that game that, where we play quite frequently. We know the game backwards and forwards. We can play it and play Portal 2 at the same time,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll pick up 3 cannons and 3 food. There you go, sorted.
That's it.
But, it'd be nice to see what the crew throw in, having these extra little powers. So I have done some research. And because it's a great game, and again, it's a game that's really sat on my shelf, and it's it's got faded corners where it's had a lot of play. I want to play it some more, but with a little tweak.
Yeah, exactly. But you see, this is a good approach to an expansion, because it's a game that's been out for quite some time now and has never had an expansion. This is the first expansion for Jamaica.
Yeah.
So it's really going to reinvigorate the game and interest in the game. So for both the player and the company, it's a really interesting thing. It will generate sales, and it will give players another reason to go back and play a game, because in this day and age, games are not designed to last.
No.
They're not designed to grab your attention. I mean, look at Kickstarters. Kickstarters just blow every single idea they have in one go. And so you get everything, you're like, oh my God, I can't play all of this at once. And then you end up playing maybe all the scenarios for the base box, and then by the time you get round to the first expansion, which was delivered at the same time normally, you're like, oh no, I want to move on and play something else now. I can't bother to play this for the 10th time in a row. It's a question of timing, of the actual game itself, of the content. This is something we could talk about for hours, I mean, we just put an add-on up for the Outlaws Kickstarter. Yeah. I spoiled it. Tomorrow, well, of course, this won't be published, but anybody listening here, tomorrow there's an add-on going up for the Kickstarter. It's a $5 add-on, right? And it contains 5 tokens and 21 cards and adds 2 new mechanics to add to the game, which is all about equipment. Because you can draft equipment cards like an iron plate to protect your governor from an assassination, or a deputy sheriff badge to give somebody the powers of the sheriff. And then you also have like a store thing which replaces all of the bogus tokens with gold nuggets, which you can spend on items. It's not obligatory, you know. Outlaws is, and I stand and defend this. Outlaws is already an interesting game, especially with all the stretch goals and such. You will have a ton of replayability in there. But for those that really want to push it a little bit further, you know, there's this little expansion. Now, I did ask myself, did I want to bring this out now during this Kickstarter, or did we want to keep it for a later release? Because this whole expansion thing is something, as a publisher, I've already asked myself, basically. Given the type of expansion, the size of it, and just the nature of Kickstarter, I was like, right, I think that this is a good time to put this expansion out, because Outlaws, I think, is a good game. If it becomes really popular in stores, all the better for us. But I don't think it's a game. Let's say this expansion is not going to be the thing that brings Outlaws back, if eventually it isn't sold in stores anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Because the crew has brought Jamaica back to the front of the stage, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but again, I would say that Jamaica has been popular underground all the time.
Yes,
it's one of my most watched video reviews on my channel. So it must be doing something great.
It's still very underground. It means that it will, you know, word of mouth, and you'll churn over some sales nicely. But now that the crew is here, that will generate a huge amount of sales, because half of those expansions will be sold with the base game, I guarantee it.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So it's all a question about when and where and exactly what you're dealing with, I suppose, you know?
And again, I was shocked when you had expansions for the characters for this.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there's 10 in here, and the game is quite playable as it is, you know, it's back and forth. But to have these extra characters and the dynamite, I'm looking forward to as well, as a stretch goal exclusive. And really, really, really kind of like wets your mouth for more. But, you know, you've just announced a stretch goal $5 pack to go expansion as well, and I'm like,
it's easy. I know it's easy, but that is.
I've already spent $200 on this.
Dude, what?
So I've got to like it.
So yeah, it's when it comes to expansions, it really is super situational, depending on the game for me. You know, I mean, you want to talk Ticket to Ride expansions?
Yeah.
That's an interesting argument, well, an interesting discussion, because one could say, well, it's just Ticket to Ride, and I used to think it was just Ticket to Ride on another map, but then I did an article for one of the expansions for Trick Track, and I was like, okay, this actually brings some interesting things. If you like Ticket to Ride, but you've played the base game to death and you want to, you know, reinvigorate your experience a little bit, these are actually not that bad. Yeah. They're actually quite interesting. So it's, to be honest, it's like a film. You know, there are films like these blatant video game rip films where they've taken a video game and they've just shoehorned it into a film, and you look at it and you go, oh god, this is terrible. And I think it's exactly the same with board game expansions. You look at them and go, oh no, this doesn't look good. And other times you look at them and go, oh, this is exactly what the game needed, or this was just really entertaining and a nice alternative to a game I already love, you know.
Yeah, and agree with you. Ticket to Ride, yeah, they're churning out. They're churning out expansions because it's a really popular game. And also the expansions, though, they don't just, that they are like new board games, because you're going to have to come up with a new strategy because of the way that the map is laid out, as well as there's this new little tweak in the rule. It's not much, but it's enough to justify the price of going and getting it. And and I think that's what's good. Best expansion ever is Tuscany the Viticulture. I would agree, because it was all the expansions in one box. Maybe there was one or two that you don't like, but you know, it was all in one box.
So it was more like a super pack.
Yes.
Kind of thing, like an expansion of expansions.
Yes. And again, you know, it didn't come out when the original Kickstarter came out. It came out a year or so later. And again, it reinvigorated the viticulture for those who couldn't get it, which is.
I don't think what would be my favourite expansion, in fact. I'm trying to look and see now to give my... Now, you know what? It might actually have been Shadows of the Horned Rat for Chaos in the Old World.
Okay.
Because I love that game. And being able to play it with more people with a totally different race was just, really good.
Okay, I look at my shelf. I can see that I've got Galaxy Truckers Une Grosse Extension.
Yeah.
I haven't played. I have Shogun with the extension. I haven't played the extension to that. Obviously, I haven't played with the expansions to Conan. I've got 2 of them, some figures and bits and bobs. And it's like, yeah, you know, you get the game and you go, you hear something good about the game and you go, oh, I want to buy that game, but there's all these expansions. I know what, I'm going to buy all the expansions. I want to be a completionist and have all of that. And it's the companies that rely on that to get you to spend all your money, and then it just sits there. That's the worst part. You know, it's not until your brain kicks in and you go, right, I need to stop doing this because
I shouldn't have bought this.
Yeah.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir, because that's just me with miniatures. I'm like, oh, is this miniature? Oh, I'll have it, please. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
How many have I got to pay now? Yeah. It's just, well, it's consumerism, I suppose. Really, it's just we go back to being filthy magpies and everything. A lot of us are collectors, whether we are big, I must have this entire $450 Kickstarter pack collector, or I really want that expansion with the game.
There you go. Worst culprit is King of Tokyo. You must admit it. Yeah, with the power-up expansions. They've just redesigned the art. I walked into the shop the other day and I saw it there. It was the power-up box. And I was like, well, it's going to be the same. It's just the different art time with King of New York. And
you can't really defend that one.
No. But you know, King of Tokyo, King of New York, you can defend because there are some differences and the gameplay.
But once again, the argument is, did those games need expansions?
Yeah.
Did they have room? In fact, because sometimes a game, not all games are open-ended. Not all games can have expansions, you know? Not all games, a lot of the time I think designers will have ideas in their head for expansions immediately once they make the game, but it will be a question of either, well, we want an expansion pack, so we'll keep this back, or we physically can't fit it all in one game, so we'll have to do an expansion later on for price or manufacturing or whatever reason. Some games, however, just can't be expansion. Can you imagine an expansion pack for chess?
For chess?
Yeah.
There is.
It's a bit of an is there?
Yeah, no. There's Star Trek 3D chess.
Oh, go away, man. No, but you see what I mean. It's that's a very extreme that's a very extreme example, but it's true. Some games just do not need. I'm actually looking around. Gears of War, the board game, I have bought that for €15 at Essen in English. Best buy ever.
Yeah.
That doesn't need an expansion.
Yeah.
That really doesn't need an expansion. I'm looking actually up at Cry Havoc, which I really like.
Yep.
But I'm wondering how they're going to do an expansion for that game.
Outlive.
I'm not sure how.
Outlive doesn't need an expansion.
I don't know how you do it. Once again, I'm not sure how you do an expansion for Outlive without.
No, it's a square. You can't put a triangle shape in a square. It's a perfect game as it is.
It's and plus, you know, it's all a question of elegance as well. You know, you can shoot, like you could shoehorn an expansion in there. Oh, definitely. You know, there's 100 ways to do it, but it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be elegant. That being said, maybe Le Boîte de Jeu is watching this and going, "Oh, well, we'll show them come next year." You know, it's maybe I haven't seen it, but there are just games that are just good and just do not need it. You know?
Yeah, it's true. That's true. But if you get a game that's like that, and then all of a sudden you hear an expansion's coming out, you think that company is money grabbing.
Well, I don't know. If you like the game, your first instinct will be to go, "Oh, this could be interesting," and then you look at it, and then it's just a question of making an informed choice and not just wanting it for the sake of having it. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Once again, it's your money. You do what you want with it.
Go to Holy Grail Games Kickstarter. For $5, you can buy it.
As a publisher, I have always said that. As a publisher, I say that as somebody whose first game is only just about to make it into stores. I've always defended that I would rather sell less copies than have them copies just gathering dust in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I am one of the very lucky ones that doesn't have to make that doesn't have to live off board games. You know, I have a very lucrative other job, but at the same time, I like to think that all the games that I do and will do, they each have their merit, and each one will be developed as they need to be developed. Nothing shoehorned in just for the sake of money grabbing or just for the sake of hitting a release schedule. You know?
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I mean,
time may prove me wrong, but you know, I'm still new to this. I might be incredibly naive about this. I don't know, but I'd like to think that that's my moral compass for this kind of subject.
Yeah, it's a good idea to have. I've got a couple of CDs that I've released, and they're all sat in a warehouse because nobody wants a physical copy. So it's like, hey, yes, I'd rather not have the physical copies and just have digital copies.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different kettle of fish, isn't it, nowadays, with digital and physical copies, Christ.
Yes. So wrapping up, how do you guys feel about board game companies? Do you feel that they are milking us dry, or how are they making us milk? How are they trying? Oh, no, start again.
It's getting late, Barry. It's getting late.
Yeah. I need a Bailey's. Okay.
I always had you figured for a Bailey's person. I don't know why. No, I did. I don't know why, but there you go. Just see, you seem like a Bailey's person. So there you go. Sorry.
Yeah.
Back to the show.
End of the day, Bailey's. During the day, Ratafia, champagne. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, that's kind of your thing, isn't it?
That's
really?
my thing now.
You know, I'm assuming in your region it just runs out the tap.
It does. we just built an extension.
So what do you think about Barry's money grabbing expansion?
Yes. Just to have a tap full of champagne. So anyway, to wrap up, how do you guys feel? Do you think that board game companies are milking us or not? And if you do think they are milking us, how? Go to Burky and Badger's board game Babble forum on Board Game Geek 2248, and there's a little poll there. Let us know how you feel.
Because clearly we can't decide. You know?
No, that we wouldn't be a podcast otherwise. We
wouldn't, would we?
We just need to debate. I mean, I think there was one thing. I wouldn't do it if I was a head of a board game company. But there's one area that I would do out of the 5 that are there. I wouldn't do the overhaul. I wouldn't do a CCG, a collectible of any sort.
I would love to do a CCG as a publisher, honestly, because just because the community and engagement it generates and the opportunities for events and organized play, I love that. And as somebody who plays miniatures and has played CCGs in the past, I like it, but then again, it's not everybody's cup of tea. So
yeah. I think I would just stick to expansions and have them come out the wazoo.
Well, one could argue that CCGs are expansions, just regular mini expansions.
Yeah, but some of them are just like, again, you'd have to verify if the expansion was justifiable to come out and actually does make the game better or different. So, but anywho, there we have it. We've had a wonderful time with Jamie Johnson from Holy Grail Games.
Thank you for having me.
No problems. Don't forget to go check out his Kickstarter as quick as you can. Outlaws, which is a very good 2-player game, and it's also a 4-player game if you buy 2 copies. Now there's
3 or 4-player game.
Yeah, there's some milking.
You're doing me proud, Barry. My hearts are bleeding.
But it's a very good game. I enjoy this game. My daughter enjoys this game because we like these kind of quick back and forthy jobbies, trying to deduce who is who and where who is in before winning. Yeah, and it's normally me because I always club the seals. We're not going to be doing another show for a little while because Burky's Game Toppers is online. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, so go check out his Kickstarter if you want a nice table topper. Unfortunately, he's only doing it in the States. I tried to buy a table and I couldn't because they don't deliver to France. But anywho, it might change in the future. They might be able to find someone who can transport all these tables all the way over here. So until next time, which might be when I find another victim to co-host with me.
Or somehow manages to wrangle me back in, we'll see.
Oh, that'd be no problem.
anytime.
We could do a 7th continent one.
Yeah, we could actually.
We could just do a babble about 7th continent until the sky turns blue. Yes.
Most definitely.
I'd like to say big thank you to Jamie Johnson for joining us.
My pleasure.
Is there anything else you want to say? Is there any way people can get hold of you or your company?
Well, Holy Grail Games is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram under Holy Grail Games. Shock surprise, I know. And you can catch me personally as Whelp Slayer on most places as well, on Twitter and Instagram as well. There you go. I think that's about it. And no problem, Ben. You're more than welcome.
Yes, yes. Okay, then all that remains for me is to say ciao for now. Play nice with each other, please. And
don't. Whatever.
Yeah, or whatever. And I'll edit all this out because I'm in an iron like a mother plus bucket.
Hey, you'll notice I did not say the F word once.
No, but you said a couple of S words.
I did, but I thought we could get away with that.
Holy crap.
Here we go.
Anyway, I forgot what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be loading the end
Music
picture.
and images.
Yeah, that's the one. And we say bye. Thank you very much for joining us, Kabuki, Ben, and Philip, and
everybody else.
We're so glad we had this time together. And now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show.
Yes, it will.
So keep us in mind. Get online.
Fake news, man. Fake
Burky
news.
and Badger will be back in no time.
And next time I'll get Jamie in the Babble section.